Augie women's volleyball team, but got to be surprised about the way the season ended up.
Actually hoping for a very good season, John, but this has been a great one, and anytime you beat North Dakota State once, let alone twice, I think you've surpassed all of your potential hopes for the year. Welcome back to the locker room. And this week's edition of Coach's Corner, it has been a banner year for the Augustana volleyball team. So good that the Vikings will host the regionals this weekend at the Elman Center. Saturday at 7 o'clock they play, guess who? North Dakota State. There's your records, 32-3, 27-5. Now the winner of that game Sunday plays in the championship, and of course the winner of the regional is in the finals, the national finals, the Elite Eight, whatever you want to call it. And Kim Sudbeck is with us. And Kim, what a dramatic turn of events from just about a week and a half ago when we were talking at your office when you weren't even sure if you'd get in the regionals. Now you're hosting it. What does this mean to your program, and how do you react to it?
Well, obviously, to your program and to the community in Augustana, it's a great honor. And in a situation that we were in a week and a half ago, you're sitting on the bubble, and you just, what happens if? You know, we got to win this match. And we went up to the Bison land, and fortunately we came out with the win and put ourselves in a very good position, second in the region. So.
Well, the nice thing is you had control of your destiny, and you did go up there and win. But that's pretty amazing. Your first round opponent now, North Dakota State, the team you went up and beat. Now, you had the sense that this season was something very special the night you beat North Dakota State for the first time. It was written up in the USA Today because you beat, there she is, former coach Zandra Bina. Talk about the emotion of that night as we watched some of the big shots. There was just a real feeling in the air that night. You can just kind of tell from the way the players are playing.
There's obviously, when your old coach comes back, the players are playing not only with intensity because it is a big match, but you're going against your old coach. Emotions are riding high, and obviously you can see that on Ann's face there, that any kill that we're going to get, we're going to maybe somewhat kind of rub it in your face type of thing. So.
Well, we're still looking at this. Having beaten them twice now, obviously you've figured out a way to beat them.
You know, in the NCC, and I think in any sport, experience is going to take you a long way, and obviously that's what's happening here. And NDSU has some good players, returners, you know, the All-American setter, but youth is on their team, so.
All right, Augie's had some very good volleyball teams in recent years, but this one is really exceptionally talented. I want to walk you through some of the names here quickly, starting with Monica Harden. Monica is one of the top setters in the country. She's NCC Player of the Week for the second straight week, number 3. That's one of my favorite shots of the whole season. Melissa Lathrop, number 4, plays with a lot of intensity. She's certainly a force at the net. She plays a very powerful game. Becky Kopsa, very steady. While others might steal more headlines, number 5 always seems to be in the right spot when you really need a big shot. And you talk about big, Andrea Peterson, 6'2". She is really tough to get it past at the net, and just try. Another 6-footer, an exceptional athlete, Angie Reiners, the Hurley native, hates to lose. She is very competitive. Remember her from her basketball days with the Bulldogs. And finally, I saved my favorite for last, all region and secret, snarls when things aren't going well. You could say she'd kill to win. Kim, we got about 30 seconds. What does she mean to the team?
Obviously, when you watch her as a player out there on the court, she's an impact player by far, and she brings the intensity and excitement to each and every player out there on the court as well as the team, and brings the fans into the match. So she's a great tribute to the program, and we're going to miss her tremendously, but we got 5 other players out there.
How much does the home court advantage mean to you Saturday night against the Bison?
A lot. Going up there in the Bison land, if we ended up going up there, it's going to be hard to beat them twice up there. So I think we're going to get the crowd and get a great support.
Again, you've got the confidence going in, having beaten them twice. Is that important too?
Very much so. The players know, player for player, how, you know, we can match up with them pretty well. And like I said, we got an experienced team, and we're going to go out after them.
Great. Good luck. The winner goes
you.
to the Elite Eight.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Mark and Coach Sudbeck.
The Tonight Show with Jay Leno is coming.
Tonight at 6:30.
Toshiba America Information Systems and KDLT salute someone who lends a hand. Since 1986, Bridgewater and the surrounding area have been able to count on Doug Weber. For 10 years, Doug has been a volunteer for the Bridgewater Fire Department, spending 4 of them as fire chief. And now he's the department training officer.
It makes me feel good that us as a fire department can get the knowledge and the training that's necessary in this field to help the community stay fire safe.
Well, Mark, the Augustana women's volleyball team, good team effort. They're hosting the regionals this weekend, but of course a lot of the accolades have gone to their MVP player.
But yeah, they've got a tremendous team. There's no question about that. We listed them all off, all their fine players Monday night in Coach's Corner. But as one player goes, I think the rest of the team follows. And if Ann Seekert has her intensity level up this weekend, it should be a fun regional tournament at the Elman Center. Clay Matvick profiles the emotional leader of a very talented Augustana volleyball team.
You can see the intensity when she competes, the smile on her face when she succeeds. Ann Seekert really loves volleyball.
Yeah, I like to play intense, the emotion of it, and enjoying the actual playing of it rather than just the win in the column, you know. And I think, you know, the outcome of every match is in God's hands, so I'd rather leave that there and just give it my best and play with my teammates and play as a team. That's really important to me. So
Ann is the most intense player I've ever played with in Junior Olympics or college level or even high school level. She's just an absolutely work of art. I mean, just you can see in her eyes, you know, if it's going to be an especially intense night, because she just gets this fierce look on her face, and she just, you know, instills fierceness into you, and you just want to play as hard as you can just to be at the same level as she is.
Ann, who helped the Vikings to a share of the NCC title, was named conference MVP yesterday. She ranks among the league's best in several categories.
I don't think it'll be the most memorable thing. I think what'll be the most memorable thing for me is the relationships with my teammates.
But the first thing that will come out of Ann's mouth, and it did when I told her that she was MVP of the conference and told the team, was, oh, I couldn't do it without you guys. And that's just the type of person that she is.
Along with Ann, 3 other Augie players were named to the all-conference squad.
My teammates are just great, you know. We wouldn't be where we are as individuals as far as awards go, or as a team as far as wins go in this position, if it weren't for every single person who's out there.
Clay Matvick, News 5 Sports.
And we'll talk more about their match with North Dakota State later in the week. All 3 girls' state basketball tournaments start tomorrow. In Aberdeen, the Baltic Bulldogs defend their title. That has added just a little bit of extra pressure to the entire season.
Expectations coming into the season.
Sunday, as Clay Matvick tells us, the Vikings don't want this great season to end this weekend, especially against the Bison.
Oh, we're all excited to play them again, because every time we play them, we just want to kill them. I don't care how many times we play them in a season.
No question, the Vikings' biggest rival this season has been the North Dakota State Bison.
We're looking forward to playing NDSU again for the 3rd time. And there's no doubt in our minds that, you know, we can get the job done.
And they have gotten the job done when it comes to the Bison. In 2 meetings, they have won 6 of 7 games, notching 2 huge conference victories. What's more, they beat their old mentor.
I think it brings that advantage to us because Zandra was our old coach. It just makes us even want to try harder to beat them, just to prove to her that, oh, you never should have left. See what just see what you missed.
Off the court, Zandra and I are very good friends, and I've learned a lot from Zandra, you know, and I'm going to be the first one to admit that's what my job was. I didn't play collegiately. I'm going to feed off anyone in regards to getting knowledge, and Zandra was that person. And when it comes to the point of on the court, it's over with. You know, you're out there to win just as much as the other team and the other coach.
If the Vikings get past Zandra's Bison, they will play their conference co-champions on Sunday afternoon for a berth in the nation's Elite 8.
But to go against NDSU once again for a 3rd time and getting hopefully a 3rd win from them, I don't need to motivate my kids. I don't need to, you know, tell them what they need to do. They know what they need to do.
We'll take one game at a time, but, you know, hopefully after that, then we'll concentrate on UNO.
Clay Matvick, News 5 Sports.
South Dakota State will begin interviewing potential candidates for Mike Daly's job next week. Right now, the list is 3.
That one person who has just about everything, News 5 has some solutions.
From jewelry to tarantulas, check out some of the off-the-wall
to a shop that makes the $95 inserts. Despite the training of the staff in various areas of sports medicine, this is not where you come to get treatment for an injury.
If you've got an injury, go see the doc, go see who.
With your special kind of love, you're caring for love.
Send email to KTLT at sd.cybernext.net.
It's the new car sell-down weekend at Krantz the Dealmaker with closeout prices, huge rebates, and interest starting at 0.9%. Plus, no payments till 97. You can't afford to miss these great deals this weekend. Get a $1,500 rebate on 96 Buick Century. Save $2,000 on a 96 Buick Roadmaster Limited. Get $1,500 cash back on a 96 Buick Regal. With special prices, rebates, and interest, the Dealmaker has your next new car. The prices are right. The time is now. The place is Krantz the Dealmaker. So call 1-800-658-4546 today.
Tonight, an all-new news radio with special guest James Caan, and everyone wants to make a good impression.
Do you want a vitamin?
Good luck. And on men behaving badly, an episode so shocking, so tasteless. You don't eat that. Ew. All-new must-see TV tonight. Then.
Oh my God!
Two sisters.
They're both tied to the murder weapon.
Only one is guilty. Now, which one will get away with murder? Law and Order, NBC tonight.
Coming up tonight on News 512 at 10, research and fundraising by telephone is a multi-million-dollar business nationwide.
And tonight in News 5 Fortunes, we'll take a look at a Sioux Falls company that competes with the big boys by reaching out and touching people all over the United States.
And Melissa McBride begins a three-part look at AIDS and how a Sioux Falls man is living with the disease right here in Sioux Falls. Join us for AIDS Finding a Cure tonight at 10 on News 512 at 10.
And is your husband tough to shop for on Christmas?
Yeah, he is, actually.
He is. Well, you're interested in this story, too. And finally, tonight, if you're worried, like she is, about finding the perfect Christmas gift for the person who has everything, worry no further.
News 5's Tiffany Byrne has some unusual ideas for you.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle.
In search of the rare, wild, or wacky this Christmas, do we have some ideas for you? If money is no object, you're sure to wow them with diamonds. Bechtold's has a 4-carat bracelet and matching 2.5-carat ring, together totaling just over $30,000. This is a Christmas gift that any woman would love. For those of you on more of a budget, the Sunset Strip Pawn Shop has tons of weird original stuff, and the best part of all is you can haggle with the owner for the lowest price. I will give you $20 for this.
$20? What do I have on here? 35? Tell you what, you make it 25, you got a deal.
23.
23? Ring her up, Ken.
Get the traditional puppy for Christmas. How about snakes? At Safariland, they have these two 15-foot Burmese pythons that run about $500 a piece. Who knows? The Christmas reptile may become a new trend. And if you're looking for that gift for that hard-to-please relative, how about this rose-haired tarantula? It runs about $15, and it's guaranteed to be something they don't already have. In Sioux Falls, Tiffany Byrne, News 5.
I would have been shaken with that thing in my hand.
You wouldn't be too welcome at home bringing home that tarantula for Christmas?
I wouldn't bring it in the house, no. I don't think so. How about you?
Let me see. The snake's a little scary. The tarantula, I don't know, look kind of small, but no pets like that.
I wish I hadn't even watched that story. I had nightmares about those two things. Don't ever
Tony,
buy
do you
me
have
that.
any pets tonight?
Hey, we got a story tonight about a guy who's got his own fields of dreams. He's got a wildlife preserve.
Wow.
Field of Dreams.
With baseball players in it.
No baseball players.
Alrighty.
Thanks for watching News 5, the station that's working for you.
Tom Brokaw with Nightly News is up next, and then, of course, we'll be back at 10. We hope to see you then.
It was a vicious fire, and it killed 14 when two planes collided in Illinois. But why did this have to happen? NBC News in Depth tonight, our series on charitable giving big corporations what they get. It's more than a merit badge. And the Miss World contest. It's not for every woman, and this year, definitely not for the country where it's being held. Miss World, go home.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York,
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. So much of the flying that we do these days, we do on faith. That the systems are in place, that the tower is watching, that the cockpit crews are alert to other planes. But sometimes all of that faith is misplaced, as it was in Quincy, Illinois last night. 14 people are dead. It was the latest in a series of deeply troubling accidents. Tonight, that crash and the consequences. We begin with NBC's Jim Avila.
United Express pilot Catherine Gackey did not die on impact. Witnesses say she was screaming, "We're trapped. Get us out of here."
I heard people screaming, yelling.
Rescue was impossible. A fireball ignited by the crash consumed both airplanes and the 14 people inside.
And they met right at the intersection.
Sheriff Robert Nall pulled up to the scene of the crash almost immediately. He brought his camera and took these pictures, only when he realized his rescue workers could not get close enough to help. Kept away by extreme heat, some could hear the screams of panic, yells for help from those trapped inside.
You could see that there was just no chance of anybody surviving.
Quincy Airport has no air traffic controllers or control tower. Pilots are supposed to warn each other on an open air frequency when they're about to take off or land. The design of the Quincy runways makes communication between pilots essential. The runways cross, and witnesses say as the private turboprop jet with 2 pilots at the controls began its takeoff, the United Express airliner with 10 passengers and 2 pilots was on final approach. Impact was just off the ground in the center of the runway at high speed.
We couldn't even tell there was 2 planes there.
10 miles away at his small private airport, Roger Gears was scanning the Quincy approach frequency.
Well, it was a panic tone of the conversation that I heard.
Gears says he heard the pilot of the private plane shout in a firm, loud voice, and then silence.
"What are you doing? You're right on top of me." There was a pause, a delay. Then I heard, "You either hit my right wing or you're on my right wing."
National Transportation Safety Board investigators have recovered the cockpit voice recorder from the United plane, a record that may confirm the panicked, horrible end of Flight 5925. Jim Avila, NBC News, Quincy, Illinois.
And as we learn now from NBC's Robert Hager, more and more air passengers are at risk on these smaller planes flying in and out of these smaller airports.
When most travelers think of airports, they think big, with sophisticated radar to track planes and controllers directing them, keeping them safely separated. But there are thousands of small airports in this country, like Quincy, which have no radar and no controllers. And with commuter service doubling over the last decade, now flying nearly 60 million passengers a year, a lot of those once sleepy little airports are suddenly bustling commuter centers. Take Salisbury, Maryland. It now averages 30 commuter flights a day, mixed in with an average 300 takeoffs or landings by private planes. Still, in these days of tight federal budgets, Salisbury isn't big enough to qualify for controllers or radar. Pilots on the way in know they're dropping below the altitude that any distant radar can follow them.
I'd like to terminate radar service, please.
There are more than 100 such airports in the continental U.S., airports with commuter service, but without controllers. Commuter airlines argue that's safe because, until Quincy, nobody can remember a commuter accident that was blamed on an absence of control. Pilots flying into uncontrolled airports simply broadcast word of their position and plans on a common radio frequency, depend on others to do the same, and depend on the most basic rule of the airwaves, see and be seen by others. Barry Krasner, who heads the Controllers Union, says it's not safe.
And I think it's absolutely essential if you're going to have scheduled service that you should have a control tower.
The manager of the Salisbury Airport, Robert Bryant.
Obviously, without some structured communication, the environment does have the potential of becoming less safe.
The problem is financial. To expand controller services to all the airports now served by commuter lines would cost more than $250 million a year. The Quincy accident may turn up the heat, but with that kind of price tag, most small airports will simply have to go on living with the present system, leaving passengers to hope it works better than it did in Quincy. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
And coincidentally, today the families of the victims from that Value jet crash last spring in the Everglades, they were making a stand in Miami where public hearings are underway on the cause of the crash. By now, it is widely believed that the oxygen canisters in the hold caught fire. But who's responsible? Tonight, we hear from the families in their own words.
Imagine your sister, your brother, your congregation, your grandparents, your parents, black, white, every color, every ethnic background, sitting on a plane. All of a sudden the plane bursts into flames.
Hazardous cargo is shipped every day in the belly of every airline in the country. Pilots throughout this nation have talked to me from all the major airlines and have said this is our greatest concern.
This airplane disaster was not pilot error, it was not due to weather, it was due to total negligence, and it was possibly criminal negligence. We are not going to stay quiet. We are going to be here, we're going to be here for years if it takes us that long to try to change this.
We simply assumed that if an airline was licensed to fly, that it was safe to fly, that someone was minding the store. That, in fact, was not the case.
One more note on all of this tonight. The nation's 7 largest airlines have agreed to new rules that will require them to provide the State Department with an immediate list of passengers believed to be on board any international flight that crashes, so State Department officials can then deal with the families instead of the airlines dealing with the families. This new policy was set up to avoid a repeat of what happened to TWA Flight 800 families who had to wait for hours for any information on their loved ones. Still ahead tonight, NBC News in Depth, our special series on charitable giving that we're calling Who Cares? Tonight, big business making big profits, but are they sharing the wealth?
Corporations are no longer giving money to arts organizations just to be good corporate citizens. They're really looking for a marketing bang for the buck.
Good causes can reap the benefits, but what really motivates America's corporate giants when it comes to charity? We'll have some answers for you tonight, in depth.
Thailand.
Later, why this year's Miss World Beauty pageant has a serious case of bad karma.
Free spirits love Easy Spirit comfort. With all the cushioning and support of a walking shoe, they give you the freedom to explore more than ever before. Easy Spirit. Inside's our walking shoe. Outside's the whole world. The new Easy Spirits, up to 77 sizes and widths, available near you.
Walk on! Walk on!
Learned straight from his daddy. You know, some days his shoulder'd get so sore it would just about fall off. Well, he'd take 2 Tylenol, but hours later the pain would come back, he'd have to take more. He'd get frustrated, so our doctor suggested Aleve.
I can take just 2 Aleve all day. With Tylenol, I was taking up to 8.
So he tried Aleve. Keeps his pain away up to 12 hours. Helped more than you can fathom.
Don't get paid for doing nothing.
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
Aren't there enough reasons in your life to talk to your doctor about Zocor? Call 1-800-MERC-75 for your free Zocor guide to healthy living. Zocor, be there.
In Chicago today, national leaders of the city, the Catholic Church, and thousands of the everyday faithful said goodbye to Joseph Cardinal Bernardin. 1,300 people packed the Holy Name Cathedral for the man who is described as the most beloved ever to preside over the nation's second largest archdiocese. Cardinal Bernardin died last week of cancer at the age of 68. Almost 100,000 people passed by his casket in the past 2 days. In Southern California at the civil trial of O.J. Simpson, a new photograph today, a picture that could potentially be damaging to Simpson. And no, this is not still another close-up of the glove. Think shoes. Here's NBC's George Lewis.
FBI shoe expert William Bodziak is testifying this afternoon that the shoe prints left behind at the scene of the double murders match the model of shoes worn by O.J. Simpson in this photograph. They are Italian imports, Bruno Mali's. In the criminal trial, a similar pair of shoes was put on exhibit. But in a deposition taken in January, Simpson stated under oath, "If Bruno Mali makes shoes that look like the shoes they had in court that's involved in this case, I would have never owned those ugly bleep shoes." The shoe photo is a new piece of evidence in this trial and potentially damaging to Simpson's credibility. Earlier, limousine driver Alan Park took the stand to talk about picking up Simpson the night of the murders. As in the criminal trial, he testified that he did not see O.J. Simpson's Bronco when he arrived at Simpson's house about 10:22 that night, the same hour that the murders are believed to have happened. On cross-examination, Simpson lawyer Bob Baker read back a portion of Park's testimony from the criminal trial, testimony in which Park admitted he wasn't really looking for the Bronco.
I wasn't looking for a car. I was looking for an address.
Park admitted once again today he was never looking for the Simpson Bronco and never noticed it. But there were few inconsistencies in his story that he didn't see O.J. Simpson until 10:55 that night. Today's testimony sets the stage for the appearance of O.J. Simpson in this court on Friday. The lawyers suing Simpson want to show that there are holes in his story, that he was at home at the time of the murders, and that he never owned those shoes. George Lewis, NBC News, Santa Monica.
On Wall Street today, it was still another record. The Dow blasting through the 6,400 mark for the first time. The NASDAQ was up as well today. When Nightly News continues, our special series called Who Cares? It's all about charitable giving. Who's doing the giving? Where's the money coming from? But first, one self-made businessman who's turned corporate citizenship into an art form. In Kennebunk, Maine, we met Tom Chappell. His company, Tom's of Maine, makes natural personal care products. They have two goals. One, of course, is the bottom line, and the other...
We basically want to do what's good for goodness sake.
Tom's gives away 10% of its pre-tax profits each year to causes ranging from helping people with disabilities learn work skills to teaching adults how to read.
Yes, and it enables us to have a spirit of being part of the same planet with the people who are suffering or needing something, and that's part of life.
NBC News in Depth is brought to you tonight by NASDAQ. Visit www.nasdaq.com.
They are a new breed of individual investor, and their numbers are growing. They know the power of information, and they don't act on impulse. They go into a stock armed with facts, building portfolios for the long haul. For this new breed of investor, a major new resource from NASDAQ, stock quotes, price performance, and soon, company news and personal portfolio tracking. Accessible instantly over the internet at NASDAQ.com.
Nobody does it like you.
For hard-to-reach places, now Hoover introduces Twist and Vac, the only hand vac with a nozzle that twists.
Nobody does it like you. Salad Shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect Salad Shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like
Salad Shooter
Slicer Shredder from Presto.
helps you every day.
Time is on my side. Yes, it is.
People today are living longer and healthier lives. And at Nature Made, we like to think we've been a part of it.
Looking for good times.
As the makers of vitamin and mineral supplements that are recommended by pharmacists more than 1,000 times a day. Nature Made, recommended by pharmacists, made for a lifetime.
NBC News in Depth tonight, our special series on America's charitable ways. We're calling it Who Cares? Tonight, corporate America. As we've all seen, 1996 has been a very good year for American businesses, but are the big companies sharing the wealth? You might be surprised to learn that corporate giving accounts for just 5% of all charitable contributions in America. The vast majority of the contributions come from individuals, the rest from foundations and bequests. There are factors that go into corporate giving decisions that really don't seem to be all that compassionate. NBC's chief financial correspondent Mike Jensen has our in-depth report tonight.
This year, the American Ballet Theater will rake in more than $1 million in gifts from big companies, including $250,000 from Philip Morris and $135,000 from Movado watches. But it's not sweet charity. The ballet's executive director says it's strictly business.
Corporations are no longer giving money to arts organizations just to be good corporate citizens. They're really looking for a marketing bang for the buck, if you will.
The accounting firm of Ernst & Young, which gave $25,000, gets an ad on the ballet company's homepage on the internet. Other corporate donors are mentioned in brochures and programs, and they get special treatment that the ordinary ballet lover can't even buy.
What they will enjoy is to bring their big clients or potential clients backstage to the Metropolitan Opera House, to a beautiful reception before a performance, to the best seats in the house.
But is that philanthropy or shrewd marketing? And does it matter? Critics say it does.
Philanthropy and charity is about giving for benevolent purposes. If you're purchasing advertising, then damn it, say it's purchasing advertising. Don't mislead the public.
Critics also say some companies that make philanthropic gifts are two-faced. Texaco gave $67,000 to the Harlem Boys Choir, $200,000 to the United Negro College Fund. The same year, some Texaco executives were caught on tape making racist comments. Texaco says the two are unrelated. For almost all corporate giving to groups like these, the catchphrase is strategic philanthropy, making sure it helps the giver as well as the receiver.
Corporations have started to do more giving with their heads than they had with their hearts in times past.
When AT&T was concentrating on overseas business, it gave to the National Orchestra of China. Now that it's getting into local telephone service, it's staying close to home, giving employees a paid day off to volunteer in the community. Here they're wiring a school for the internet.
We've been forced to look at our philanthropic and community involvement strategy to make sure that it's in line with our business strategy.
It's tax deductible whether it's called advertising or charity.
Thanks for the generosity of the artists.
But even so, corporate giving is shrinking as a percentage of profits to half what it was a decade ago. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
Tomorrow night, with these big government cutbacks, can private charities make up for those cutbacks in social programs? When we come back here in a moment, is it a kinder, gently Newt Gingrich closing in on a second term as Speaker of the House? And later, the beauty pageant that has turned ugly. Why so many people in the host country are against it.
Everyone has dreams. I respect people who work hard to make their dreams come true. If you got sick or injured, Aflac could keep your dreams on track. We help fill the gaps other insurance doesn't cover. That can help you hold on to your money and your dreams. 40 million people worldwide rely on Aflac to do just that. There's a good reason we all work hard and late. I think I'll go home to mine now.
With hemorrhoids, sitting can be torture. But Hemorrhoid has a pain reliever that works on contact. Preparation H doesn't. Hemorrhoid shrinks swelling and relieves burn and itch. It's complete enough to tame the toughest seat. Only Hemorrhoid is this complete.
Bobby, any aspirin in there?
Dad, didn't your doctor tell you to take Tylenol for your back, not aspirin?
I take aspirin every day for my heart, don't I?
Right. And didn't he say for you more aspirin could cause stomach irritation?
Yeah.
Aspirin for your heart, Dad. Tylenol for your pain.
For patients on aspirin heart therapy, Tylenol is the pain reliever doctors recommend most for aches and pains.
You're pretty smart.
Yeah, I get that from Mom.
With hemorrhoids, sitting can be torture. But Hemorrhoid has a pain reliever that works on contact. Preparation H doesn't. Hemorrhoid shrinks swelling and relieves burn and itch. It's complete enough to tame the toughest seat. Only Hemorrhoid is this complete.
A
sparkling ship on crystal waters is coming.
Absolutely gorgeous. It was so much fun.
The perfect lobster is coming.
Our waiters, they would do anything for us, any time.
Perfection is coming.
A gift from the captain.
Memories are coming. 3 or 4 days in Royal Caribbean's Baja are coming. You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
American West.
Work was the primary reason we came here.
Too good to be true? Wait till you hear the price we'll all pay. NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
Oh my God!
2 sisters.
Both tied to the murder weapon.
Only one is guilty. Someone might get away with murder. Law and Order, NBC tonight.
The Democratic National Committee admitted again tonight that it is returning another $250,000 in improper campaign contributions. This time the checks came from a wealthy Thai woman who lives in the United States, but it turns out her mother-in-law, also a Thai national, provided the money for the checks. The political parties are not supposed to accept contributions given under other people's names. And a vote of confidence in Washington today in Newt Gingrich from his fellow Republicans who named him to a second term as Speaker of the House. But it was a different and a somewhat chastened Gingrich who accepted the cheers of his colleagues. Here's NBC's Lisa Myers.
For Gingrich, victory was bittersweet because of the death of his father this morning and the scars of the last 2 years. He vowed this Congress and this Speaker will be different. More cooperation, less confrontation.
I made a few big errors. I was both the Speaker of the House and our leading advocate, and some days I didn't do it very well.
The vote to keep Gingrich as Speaker was unanimous, but there is grumbling in the ranks about his unpopularity with voters and ethics problems.
Newt, I thought, should have realized that for the good of the party, if he temporarily stepped aside, it would give us a chance to get our act together and also give him a chance to clear up his problem.
His biggest problem, the Ethics Committee's expanded investigation into whether Gingrich violated tax laws for political purposes and misled the committee. A Gingrich ally says he'll abstain when the full House votes to elect a Speaker in January if an ethics report has not been made public.
They need to complete the task. We need to see this report.
Gingrich has other headaches, too. With fewer Republican votes to work with, individual factions have more power. Moderates already are demanding changes.
The red-hot rhetoric will be withheld, and I think that a lot of the votes are going to be more carefully considered.
And Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott threatens to eclipse Gingrich as the top Republican in Washington. 2 years ago, Gingrich was the unrivaled leader of the Republican Revolution. Republicans say he remains their strongest leader and strategist, but one whose personal baggage sometimes undermines the cause. Lisa Myers, NBC News, the Capitol.
Now to NBC News Online. Tonight, what worries rich parents about their rich kids? A new survey finds that 2/3 fear that their kids will become too materialistic and won't know the value of a dollar. Half worry their kids won't have any ambition or independence. But worries aside, rich parents still want to give their kids a taste of the good life. More than 3/4 of their kids will visit Europe by the time they're 18. More than 2/3 will have their own car as soon as they learn to drive. When we come back, the beauty pageant that is not welcome in the host country.
To build something that endures takes hard-working people. People who care. People with vision. And the strength to see the job through. We know. Since 1904, that's how we've built a name for ourselves in financial services. Providian. Insurance, credit, and retirement savings.
If the hassle of paying your bills puts you off balance, don't get sideways.
Get Quicken.
With Quicken, the easy way to keep all your finances straight. Quicken software works just like a checkbook. Makes check writing a snap. Now it's easy to see exactly where your money goes and balance your checkbook in minutes. When you're on top of your finances, your life is clicking.
Get Quicken. Get Quicken with Quicken.
Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Also try Extra Strength Bayer, nothing stronger for everyday pain.
If you've been drinking Ensure, there's a little something you should know. Nobody, not even Ensure, gives you more protein with less fat than Sustacal. No, Sustacal can't add years to your life, but it might help add life to your years.
Dateline Friday. They made love and had a baby, but it wasn't hers to keep. Find out how the surrogate mom fought to keep the child. Just whose baby is it? Dateline Friday.
The place of women may have changed in many parts of the world, and alas, not in other parts, but there are some carryovers from the past that managed to enrage many women in both halves. Take the Miss World contest. In fact, India would be happy if you would take it. Here's NBC's Richard Roth.
Now we have Miss Paraguay and Miss Peru.
Organizers call this beauty with a purpose. Charity is supposed to get some of the profit, and India is supposed to enjoy a moment of global media fame.
And from Poland,
instead, India's first Miss World contest has caught a bad case of bad karma. There have been protests by everyone from outraged women to indignant farmers. A man 200 miles away burned himself to death denouncing the pageant. And one local group threatens mass suicide by cyanide on the contest's closing night.
What is it? Your face is your fortune. That is something that has kept women down. That a woman's only role in life is to be beautiful. Hello.
Critics charge the 88 contestants from America to Zambia are, in short, a decadent threat to India's culture.
That may be giving the beauty contest more credit than it's due. The fact is, India's managed to resist much of the wholesale assault of Western culture, or at least modify what it can't resist.
Modernization may be India's new religion, but tradition here still thrives. And it has a way of touching even the mightiest foreign invaders. When McDonald's came to India, it left behind the Big Mac. Where's the beef? It's still on the sacred cow. People now worried about a cultural threat from